Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to IT Nation 2012. How was that party last night? Yeah, I don't think we want to take attendance after last night, do we? Hey, look, I got to tell you, and it's always, when I walk out here for the first time in front of you to present, it's always such an incredible experience for me. You know, in many ways, it feels, you know, like Thanksgiving, quite honestly. It feels like when all the family gets back together, we get reacquainted, we sort of share our successes and our failures, we break bread, get a little drunk. Some of us too drunk. There's always that person at Thanksgiving, right? And, you know, it just feels like family. And, you know, you think about it, we have so much to be thankful for. We are in the very best industry in the world. Now, I didn't say it's the simplest industry in the world, but we are. Is it not the best industry in the world? And I honestly feel that, personally, you're using the very best tools that you can to run your business. And the other cool thing is that we are family in the sense that we're all running our businesses on the same business operating system, ConnectWise. So we can talk the same language and share successes and failures in business. You know, a lot of ways I kind of feel probably like, I guess, Santa Claus would feel around the time of Thanksgiving, where he's busily getting all these presents together, ready with his elves in the workshop for the kids at Christmas. And that's because for months and months before IT Nation, all of the ConnectWise colleagues are busily running in down the hallways of ConnectWise with brand new presents for you that we're getting ready to put under the tree. New version of mobile, new user interface, more APIs, enhancements for projects, enhancements for opportunities, everything in the browser. Lots and lots of things. New dashboards, more consulting concepts for you, improved blueprints. And people for months around ConnectWise are scurrying up and down the halls, busily getting these presents ready for you. So I just want to thank all of you for coming here today and sharing this time with us. And you know, the other thing that we have to be thankful for is we really do have the very best, and you really are the very best community of IT professionals in the world, bar none. So give yourselves a round of applause. All right, how about Jim Collins yesterday? Was that phenomenal? Wow. I'll tell you what, Jim Collins, that guy is awesome. And I trust that all of you got your book last night, right? Okay, well, we're actually going to cover a lot of what's in this book today. We're going to give you the executive summary version, but I encourage each and every one of you to read this book. This book is absolutely how ConnectWise will be implementing all new partners. It's what you'll hear about when you engage us for consulting. In fact, the entire business is going to be based on these concepts. And the reason is because these concepts are actually very central and principal to any business, and they work and they're backed up with a lot of data. So, let's go ahead and show you our version of it. And we call it the path to success. And when you first start that path to success, first start your business, we all think it's going to be pretty simple, right? Doesn't look too hard. I'm kind of water through the pasture there and get to the finish line, right? Not a tough race. And this is what we think when we first start our businesses. But it's not necessarily that way. Some of the things that we're going to talk about today, some of the principles that Jim Collins talks about, and some of the principles that we firmly believe in are these principles here. We're going to talk about 20-mile march. We're going to talk about zooming out and zooming in, the pyramid of success, SMAC recipes, 10Xers, Fanatic Discipline, bullets and then cannonballs and then BHAGs. And he talked about those things yesterday. Well, here's the problem. The reason we need to have these tools and understand this is because this is not the simple course that we get to run for our business. it looks a little bit more like this, okay? Just a little bit tougher race there, okay? We're going to start up here. We're going to make our way through our first set of problems in our business, forge our way through the mountains, somehow pick our way through the right way through this forest here, get across the sea of uncertainty, cross the chasm, get up into the uplands where the real profitability is, the real success in our business, pick our way through the mountain range, and then target in on our BHAGs. And with any luck, we're going to be finishing with success. Okay? So let's see how we do this. And by the way, this is all based on how we see you. And of all of our experiences with you, the thousands of you that we've worked with, this is the common set of data, the common set of circumstances that we see. So let's go ahead and get started here. And we got Torchy. Torchy's you, okay? So here's our first 20-mile march that we've got to make, right? 20-mile march. What is a 20-mile march? 20-mile march is getting up every day and doing what you need to do, applying your recipe of success, and doing it every day with Fanatic Discipline, okay? It's the way that Amundsen beat Scott to the South Pole. It's the way that he actually lived when Scott died. And it's also the way that your business is going to be successful or completely mediocre, or perhaps even die. So, you usually get into business, and the first thing that you run into, we always run into some problem. And usually it's quicksand, right? You're sinking in quicksand. You don't really know what to do, okay? And we've all run into those kinds of problems. It usually happens when we first start our business. It could be employee problems. It could be we just don't have enough money. But you always run into those first set of problems, that set of quicksand. The thing to do there, and I think we all know this, but the thing that I've always figured out is, you cannot, when you're finding any problem that you run into, you can't sit and struggle, okay? If you sit and you're just focused on what's right in front of you and you're struggling, it is like quicksand. You're going to sink, and you're going to sink fast, and you're going to cease to exist. You're going to die. The thing you've got to do in all cases is to zoom out. Now, if you're able to actually look out from a higher perspective on any problem, all right? And we're going to talk about Intel and how they zoomed out on their problem and fixed their problem. We talk about other people, how they zoomed out and fixed their problem. But when you back off and disengage and come up to 200, 300, 400 feet above the problem and look at it from a different perspective, make believe that you're not involved in it. Make believe it's not your business. Make believe it's not your problem. Look at it independently, okay? You can zoom out. You usually can find a pretty simple answer. It's usually not too far away. And then you find your path forward. Next challenge that we usually see with partners is they get past that first problem, even without us, right? They're not finding us. They're not finding ConnectWise. We're not there to help them. They don't even know about us yet, typically. Then they start hitting their next set of challenges, and they forge their way through this mountain range here. And at some point in your business, and all of you, I think the day that you said, I'm just going to get ConnectWise, it was probably a dark day, okay? And you said, I got to do something. I got to fix this, okay? And you had a lot of pain at that point in time, and it motivated you to do something. And you did something, and I think you did the right thing. You signed up for this community. You signed up for this partnership that we have with you. You got ConnectWise, okay? So, you can see your way through there. It's a full moon. It's a full moon, okay? But here's the problem. Let me go ahead and explain where the problem comes in. And some of you that are sitting in this room today, you're suffering through this exact problem, okay? You're only taking us up on the fact that it's software, all right? I got news for you. ConnectWise is not a software company. We're not, okay? Our mission in life, and this is our mission in life, this is our pyramid of success. Every single ConnectWise colleague understands this visual, understands this concept. It's the pyramid of success. It's the pyramid of success that we have built our business on. It is our essential why. It's why we're in existence today. And it's the only thing that matters. And any decision, any problem that we come up with, we zoom out far enough where we can see this pyramid of success and say, does it match with this image, this concept, our vision for our partners? Okay? Now, if you notice here, the best thing about ConnectWise, in my opinion, is that we are domain experts. In fact, ConnectWise just celebrated their 30th year in business in August. I mean, just surviving is success sometimes, right? But we've actually done it with wild success. Our IT service organization in the Tampa Bay area has brought 35 to 40% to the bottom line 30 years in a row. Month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year, for 30 years. That's something. The cool thing about that, though, is we did it and we made every single mistake there is. And we figured out best practice as a result of it. And what we did is we then embedded those best practices into the software because we were tired of being experts. David and I were tired of being the experts chained to the business. We wanted instead to create an expert system. And the only way that we knew to do that was with software. The only way that we knew that we could actually hire, and no offense to our IT, ConnectWise IT people, average people, okay? We think they're above average. But if you have an expert system, you can plug average people into an expert system and they will succeed. And the business will succeed. And the business has scalability. So we knew these were the first two main things that we had to do to be successful. So we built the software on that. This is where you guys usually find us in the mountains. This is where you usually say, I've had enough pain and I'm going to go ahead and take care of that pain and I'm going to get ConnectWise. But that's not our vision. That's not our mission for you, okay? We also have support. We have phenomenal education, the ConnectWise University system, and technology certifications to take you further. We have top-notch consulting to hold you by the hand, the best community in the world where you can really share and learn from. And the capstone of our pyramid is success, and that success is your success, not our success. So the test that we use for everything that we do at ConnectWise is, does it meet with our desire to create success for our partners? Now, I got to be honest with you, a lot of companies in our industry are software companies. And once you buy the software, they're kind of saying, here's the software, please don't call our support line, okay? But the reality is, you know, the obligation is to go much further than that. Now, none of our partners that are in that solution pavilion and our integration partners, they're not in that category. They're all usually pretty good at that, right? Okay? But the point is that a typical software company, if it's a transactional-based sale, that's all they care about. We don't care about that. We care about everything else. In fact, we spend $7 million a year to do more than that. And we think that's an important thing, and that's an important distinction. So, you usually find us here, software and best practices. You had enough pain, you did something about it. Great. We're lighting the way, showing you the path. You can move forward at that point. The next set of challenges, and so now, you know, we've accomplished, at that point in your business, you've accomplished another 20-mile march, okay? Now, does anyone want to help me out here? How do you usually get to that 20-mile march? How do you finish that 20-mile march? What is the one concept that you have to apply to finish a 20-mile march every day, every day, every day? He said everything's a ticket. That is true. That was not the answer I was looking for, but a good one. The answer is Fanatic Discipline, okay? Fanatic Discipline. The thing that Jim Collins will teach you when you read his books, and the things that we've observed about partners is, it's about getting up and doing the 20-mile march and having fanatic discipline. Here's the problem with that. when you start to have a lot of success with that formula, guess what happens? Business becomes boring. Because you get up and you do the same thing, you apply the same recipe, you have success, you have your Fanatic Discipline, and you keep chugging away, and you go, man, this is great. Now what? That's where you usually get yourself in trouble. Okay? That's where you say, well, then I'm going to become the next greatest thing in the IT space, and I'm going to open up this new division, and I'm not even going to think a whole lot about it, or I'm going to chase this new shiny object, right? This is our industry. It's like shiny. Where's that new technology? Where's that shiny object, right? We all chase that next thing because we think that's where success is. We think that if we go chase that and if we can catch that, that's success. That's not success. I'm here to tell you, success is meat and potatoes. It's boring. It's Alabama football. Okay? I don't know how these guys keep winning. It's boring. They do the same thing year after year. They have not changed their formula for 50 years, you know. It's not exciting watching them. It's not really. It gets exciting in the third and fourth quarter. You know why? Because they grind their opponents down. In the third and fourth quarter, this gentleman's from Alabama. In the third and fourth quarter, they wear you out because they have Fanatic Discipline, because they do Olympic weight training, because they're in at 5 a.m. every morning. They practice. They don't pamper their athletes, okay? They exercise basics, blocking, tackling, okay? The super basic things, and they do it well. And they've proven over and over again over the years that that's what it takes to be successful. It doesn't mean you're going to be successful every year. It doesn't mean you win that national championship every year, but it does mean that you create success. But it's boring. But that's okay. The objective is success. So I want you to just think about that for a second, okay? Because this is not a technology discussion on purpose. This is a business discussion that I'm having with you. It's why we brought Jim Collins here to talk to you. I have to get through to you on this point. I have to get through to you on how to run the business and how to focus on the business and not the technology. You got the technology. You need to focus on the business and your business process and doing those things that will make you successful with your business. So, the next piece of our journey, we're going to make our way, somehow pick our way through the forest here. And this is not too hard. We got three choices, three paths through the forest, okay? At this point, this is where we feel most of our partners can get through even this minor obstacle with just support. And we have committed to world-class support for you. In fact, some of our stats to share with you, overall partner satisfaction, the surveys that you guys take when we do tickets. And by the way, we have a 16% response rate on all tickets. So we know that this is pretty relevant data here. 93.7, almost 94% satisfaction rating, and that's a year-to-date average. So our support team has really arrived. They've really created world-class support. 68% of our tickets are now closed within 24 hours. And any of you that have been in this crowd, I can tell you, I always put up these numbers. They have not been this good. There were IT nations where I had tomatoes thrown at me for support, okay? But that's not so anymore. We've really created a world-class support organization. We do that because we think it's that important for you. And by the way, if you don't believe that we are world-class, ding us on the surveys. Every single one of our support folks is bonused on how they treat you, how they service you. So your feedback loop is ding them on a survey. We're cool with that. I'm totally okay with that, okay? We need to know the bad news way more than the good news, okay? We're doing 10,000 tickets a month. So that's usually pretty simple. We can usually help you find your way through that with just basic support. But here's the problem with that. We could still complete that 20-mile march, but we're still over in an area where we really haven't created a lot of success, okay? We did accomplish another 20-mile march. Congratulations. But at this point, what happens is we start to wander, okay? And Torchy's supposed to wander. All right. Now he's wandering. Okay. And you guys wander, and here's the thing, is like, this is where so many of you, and honestly, I say you, and I mean you collectively, you watching this video that didn't come to IT Nation, quite honestly, all right? Those of you that are here, I know most of you, and I think you guys have awesome businesses, and I think that's wonderful that you're here, and I think that you've proven that you're really not wanting to wander in that land of mediocrity. But Jim Collins talks about it. I see it every day. And it hurts me because our vision for you is so much more. It's almost like I feel like I have two sons. Lauren and I have been married 24 years now. Thank you for putting up with me. And we have two sons, 20 and 22. And I tell you what, I learned more about managing people, raising those two sons with Lauren, than probably ever in business. But in some ways, I feel like all 70,000 users are my sons and daughters. I want to see you succeed in your careers. I want to see your businesses succeed. And I don't want to see you wandering over here in this land of mediocrity. And you know what? Here's the thing. Success is everywhere. The opportunity for success in this industry is phenomenal. Okay? You have no excuse for failure. Let me say that again. You have no excuse for failure. You have no excuse for being mediocre. And if you are, and you're not doing well, talk to me. Send an email to me. Send an email to help@ConnectWise. Send an email to consulting@ConnectWise. We can get you out of that, okay? Because it's a basic fundamental. We're going to take you into the locker room and we're going to show you basic blocking and tackling and getting you focused on the things that you need to be focused on to have that success. Because success is no mystery. Success is getting back to the basics. So we don't want to see you wander. I'll tell you though, the one thing that separates those partners who succeed and those partners who wander in the land of mediocrity forever, the one thing is that they have figured out their smack recipe, okay? And the great divide that we see at ConnectWise on our vision for you, our success pyramid, is the people that just use support and software and best practices. Not all of you, but a lot of you are going to be over there in that land of mediocrity. The ones that really achieve success are heading up into those big hills, into those mountains after their big, hairy, audacious goals, their BHAGs, okay? And they're taking advantage of these other massive investments that we make to create success for you. So you got to get across this sea of uncertainty. And the number one way to get across this sea of uncertainty, by the way, the wrong way is this. There's my English Channel attempt. But you learn from your mistakes, right? So, and if anyone notices, we designed this little world to almost be where I had to swim from Dover over to Cap Grenade. So it actually looks like the channel. That's not the way to do it, okay? The way to do it is with a SMAC recipe. The number one thing that creates success is for you to understand what your SMAC recipe is. What is a SMAC recipe? Specific, methodical, and consistent, okay? Specific, methodical, and consistent. It's a formula that you apply in a specific way with methods and methodology, and the and is a big deal, and the genius of the and consistently, okay? So here's the thing. It's, as Jim Collins says, it's that great cookie recipe, okay? You just do it over and over and over again. It's Alabama football. They just do it over and over and over again. I wish I could say Florida played like that, but they don't, okay? Intel SMAC recipe, this is their SMAC recipe. Take a look at it, okay? They concentrated on integrated electronics. They upheld Moore's law. They achieved Moore's law by increasing chip size through technology, continuously developed the next generation, standardized manufacturing down to the smallest details. It's all boring. I don't know about you, but I'm not too excited reading this. Maintain a reputation that Intel delivers, which is hard to do and boring, but important. Don't attack fortified hills. Practice constructive confrontation. Measure everything that makes and make visible the results, and do not cut R&D. No matter what, do not cut R&D. So guess what has changed in Intel's SMAC recipe in 20 years? Okay, now they're in the fastest growing industry. They are leading that industry, are they not? What changed in their SMAC recipe? They exited memory chips. They said, you know what, we're not going to do DRAM chips anymore. Let somebody else do that. We can't make any money off of that. We need to focus on the higher value things. In fact, the things that will stimulate our brains and make us work harder anyway. We need to focus on creative things. That's where we're good. We need to focus on CPUs. We need to focus on creating, the best CPUs in the world. Guess what, though? What else changed in their formula over a 20-year period? The answer is nothing except for the fact that they exited the DRAM space. I think that's pretty significant, okay? ConnectWise IT, I talked about, our IT practice, 50-mile radius of the Tampa Bay area that we've had for 30 years, okay? What's our SMAC recipe? It's pretty simple, and it's pretty boring. So read it. I want you to read it, okay? It's pretty boring formula here. We service clients in the 50-mile radius of our office. Can't tell you how many times we had salespeople come up and go, this client is awesome, and they're 60 miles, they're within 50 miles, and we'd look at it, it's like, no, they're 60 miles. Well, but that's only 10 miles more. It's like, not doing it. But it's only 10 miles. It's like, it's not on the recipe. We're not doing it. We can't take care of them well. We'll never get to them in time. We got to be in fast drive time within an hour, okay? Or we're not going to be successful with them. And by the way, I don't suppose, everybody's SMAC recipe is different. System engineers had to be 80% billable. No excuses. We usually achieved 95 to 98% billable. Only hire fast, smart people, and they've got to pass our test. Make our colleagues happy. Everybody that works there, make them happy. Make them ecstatic. We don't want any employee turnover. And then create accountability with servicing clients. Don't hand off a bunch of times. Every time you hand off, it's like, hey, I started this ticket, and you finish it. It's like, yeah, every time you do that, it's bad, okay? We don't allow that, okay? We still don't allow that. We will sell hardware. Gee, we said we will sell hardware. We said even when CompUSA opened up down the street from us, we said, so what? We will sell hardware. Even when Dell started going direct and slashing their prices, we said it doesn't matter. We will sell hardware, and we will sell hardware with a 20% margin on average or more. Can't go below 10%. That was our SMAC recipe. We're going to build recurring revenue, and we should get recurring revenue from every client. Every single client should give us recurring revenue. That was our formula. If you don't give us recurring revenue, it was like us saying, you don't respect me. I mean, I have this service. You like what I do. You like working with me, but you don't want this recurring revenue. And I know I said recurring revenue. I'm not talking about managed services. I'm talking about any recurring revenue. We do web hosting, right? Host websites. Heck, we still host Tech Data's Tech Select website. Okay. We do hosting. At one time, our offerings changed, but our process never changed. At one time, we were an internet service provider. But we needed that recurring revenue. Yeah, fine. We got into managed services. We did warranties, and we still do. So, any recurring revenue is good with me, okay? Another one was clients must give us more than one of our offerings. What were we offering? Service hardware agreements, meaning recurring revenue of any flavor, any one of them. Did a web hosting agreement with us, and then you wanted us to just service your computers, and you were going to buy them from Dell. That's two. Not happy about the Dell thing, but those two are good enough for me, okay? But they had to have more than one. They had to have two or more. Pick any two or more. More is better. And then this was ours, and we still pretty much stick by it. We won't take on lawyers or doctors as clients. Not because we don't like lawyers. And it's not because we don't like them, it's because we don't understand them. You have to, if you're going to do lawyers or doctors, man, you better speak their language. And you better make that a practice area and focus on it. That's what we figured out. We said, you know what? We just are not going to be successful there. Don't ever do it, okay? And then we won't take on clients that have an IT department because, you know, the IT guys in the IT department, they're scared of us. They think we're trying to take their job. They don't want us in there, right? So that's what we did. You know, how many of those things have changed over our 30-year period? Basically, nothing. The only thing that we changed was we said, you know what? Now that we'll do co-managed IT. We'll start working with IT departments because we'll use Streamline IT. We'll start bringing that IT department into ConnectWise, and we'll run their service board for them. In fact, now we manage about 5 IT departments in the Tampa Bay area. You know, small IT departments. The CEO and the CFO, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They don't know what those people do. They say, fine, you guys got a system? Great, put the system in. You're going to help them with tickets. They can escalate the tickets to you. So we now have a way to embrace them and help them with their job as opposed to them thinking that we're a threat. Because we really don't want to crawl underneath computers and do the things that they're doing anyway. And these clients need someone on site. So that was the only thing we changed. 10% change in a SMAC recipe over a 10-year period. Now, or over a 30-year period, 10% change. So here's my question to you. What's your SMAC recipe? It's the number one thing. What is your SMAC recipe? Think about it. That's the one thing you got to write down before you leave. If you've got a piece of paper, I'd start saying, well, let me, you know, I saw what theirs was, and I can make this whole presentation available to you. I have no problem doing that, okay? All of this information will be available to you. But what is your SMAC recipe? Figure that out. Don't make it too complicated. Don't even worry about if you get it right. Do a version 1.0 of it. But here's what most people have. If I sat and went to each one of you right now and said, what's your SMAC recipe? Okay? I don't know. Not sure. Still thinking. Give me a second. You know, probably something in the cloud. Yeah, that sounds good. Dude, why are you asking me these stupid questions? You know, I'm too busy right now. These are all the things that we hear, right? I know Joe knows. Hey, Joe. You know, and we'll figure it out later. And that's what we hear. And it's like, so you really don't have a formula to run your business. And this is something you have to invent for yourself, okay? I will tell you that if you're trying to find your SMAC recipe, and everybody's is different, but a great place that I'm going to recommend, if you're saying, yeah, I'm stuck there, then a great place that I'm going to recommend that you discover your SMAC recipe is ChartTech Academy. And here's why. Because it's like walking into somebody's... We've worked with Alex for a long time, and I've told Alex, and his whole mission is, he's a very successful managed service provider. He has a cabling company. They do break-fix work. They do walk-up warranty repair where people drop it off into their office. They have a software development tiny group that does that now. They do hardware as a service. But I'm talking about his company is on stage 24/7. Every month you can go to a ChartTech Academy and you can watch every single practice area, what they're doing. It's really kind of cool. It's like getting the back, it's like getting the kitchen tour at Burns, if everyone's ever been to Burns in Tampa Bay. But it's a phenomenal way to sort of get in there. So imagine if you had the keys of, some CEO gave you the keys to their business and said, hey, just go in there and you can copy anything we have. In fact, remember what Jim Collins said about Pacific Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines flew over there to California and literally photocopied the SMAC recipe. So if you're unsure of it and you want someone to kind of work with you on it, this is the place to do it. Now, I also told Alex he's going to have to come up with some kind of an incentive for that. So, you know, he's come up with an incentive for that. And here's the thing. It's like if you're part of ChartTech Academy for under $3,400, you're a lifetime member. And that means the business is. That means you can send all of your employees, okay, every month if you want. And there's lots of training and other things. Anyway, it's something to definitely check out if you don't have a SMAC recipe. But the key point here is CopyMine, copy Alex's, go to ChartTech, copy any, I don't really care, but figure it out and write it down, because that's the only way you're going to get across probably into the place where you have much greener pastures, all right? Okay, so we get across the sea of uncertainty, and we accomplish another 20-mile march. Now we're going to head up into greener pastures, up into the easy area, but we're actually facing a new obstacle, and that's where we're actually having to cross the chasm. In your business, and we're figuring this out based on what we see, you can even cross over, you can even have a smack recipe, you can even start to experience success, and there's always that big chasm that you've got to cross. For me, it was figuring out sales. For a lot of you right now, it's finding staff, okay? It's hard to find good people, okay? Yeah, we might have high unemployment in the United States, but we have super low employment in the IT space. And I hear it's the same way in Australia, and I hear it's the same way in the UK. So I think everybody in this room is experiencing the same exact thing. One of the ways that we can help you cross that chasm is with education, okay? And with education, I mean actually technology certifications. So imagine 3,000 software titles online, 3,000 courses online, or 3,000 plus courses online that you can use to get your people certified. That you can use that, hey, if you wanted to hire college interns, and you want to say, hey, look, you're a college intern, but I'm going to have you start taking these courses. I'm going to basically build my own higher level skilled technician. You know, there's lots of ways to make that happen. But the point is that education is one of the best ways to do that. In all the software titles, get them certified. Microsoft, Linux, Adobe, VMware, Oracle, you name it. What we did is we took your collective purchasing power and we went to some of the very best people who create these courses and we put them in a headlock. And we said, look, what you got to do is you've got to give us a solution that allows us to send all of our people to this university, online university, 24/7, because we don't really want to send them out of town. We really don't want to have them leave the office for 2 or 3 days while they take this $1,000 or $2,000 course. So it's online, available at any time. If you're interested in that, you can check that out at connectwise.com/certifications. Here's what Jason Agnew says about that. It's pretty much transformed the way that he educates his people, and it's saving him a bunch of money. It's only $425 per student per year, and you get unlimited access, 24/7. This is a phenomenal price. This is something that, with one course, if you send one student to one course, now you've got access to this for an entire year, all 3,000 courses. So they can get as many, you know, they can accomplish whatever level of education you want them to. They can get and then take all the certification classes that you want them to do. So it's a phenomenal way to do it. Again, just another one of the ways that we actually take your collective purchasing power and we take that to vendors and we say, hey, look, what can you do to help us? Another way is with ConnectWise Partner Kits. So we've created some really cool education. This is all free. This is free. Service board kit, because we made it. Anything we make, we give to you for free, pretty much, okay? Intellectual property. Service boards, we found a lot of you don't know how to really run a service board. Get the service board kit. Vendor management kit, we talked about that last year. That's where you actually start taking control of the environment, your client's environment, and instead of there being 4 and 5 and 6 vendors dealing with the internet connection, dealing with the copier, dealing with the IT, the networks, dealing with the phone system, you put yourself in a central position. We show you how to do that in ConnectWise. We give you the smack recipe for how to do that. All of these are mini smack recipes if you're interested in making that a practice area. Download it. Just go to connectwise.com/partnerkits. Modern Office. This is a way that you can explain everything that you do to your clients. We even give you the entire graphic set. You can logo it for yourself. You can do whatever you want with these graphics. There's a PowerPoint in there. It explains all the things that you could possibly sell to your clients. It's got HTML web pages that you can put up on your website to better explain it. How many folks have actually put up a website around the modern office kit that we put up? One person. 2? 3? Okay. So this is, I mean, we got like thousands of hours into this stuff. I mean, it's good stuff. Talk to the people, the 3 people that raised their hands, okay? You know, throw me a bone here, you know, give me some encouragement to spend, you know, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to create these things. Use them. But this is where I'm saying, it's like, I know you're busy running your business. I get that, okay? But, you know, we have 2 new ones. Onboarding kit. Place you get stuck a lot of times is onboarding your customers, right? What's the right way to do that? We gave you a smack recipe for inside ConnectWise how to do that. Leadership kit. I love this one. This is cool. We went out to a lot of the people in the ecosystem here that we feel really understand leadership, and we got them to co-author this with us. So we have Arlen Sorensen talking about leadership. We have Gary Pica talking about leadership. Some great materials there. So that would be great for the owners of the company, okay? All of it's there for you, okay? So these are some ways that we can help you cross the chasm. Some other ways that we can help you cross that chasm are with the next level up consulting. Our consulting organization is top-notch, okay? One of the things that we do is we provide these audits. So the business transformation audits we found to be phenomenally successful. Here, think about it for a second. ConnectWise is your business operating system. So this was my thought. I had it 3 years ago, and we've been working on it ever since, and we've got it down pat now. If ConnectWise is what you use to run your business, we're going to do transitive math. Remember, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, okay? So if ConnectWise is what you use to run your business, then everything about your business will be in ConnectWise. So if I look at what's in your system and how you're using it, can't I build artificial intelligence to tell me where you're moving off or not onto the path of success? Shouldn't I be able to do that? Sure. And we have. And that's what these business audits are. The whole basis behind these business audits actually, and by the way, to encourage you to use our consulting services, 10% off, but even better than that, free, okay? So we finally built this artificial intelligence and we got it in beta, and now we're going to put it out on general release very soon here, where you can run the reports that we've created to look at yourself and to self-heal. That's the whole idea. We want you to self-heal, right? So every one of you needs to take a note to run these business transformation audits. Heck, you know, I really think, do it yourself. Call us if you get stuck. I don't really want to, if I already created this and we're giving it to you, it's like, do it for yourself. I don't want to do it. Call us where you're going to get stuck. If every one of you did that right now and ran this when this thing comes out, these business transformation audits, our consulting team would never be able to keep up with just getting you past the places you're getting stuck, okay? That's my vision, all right? I don't want to build, I worked at Price Waterhouse, okay? We billed $125 an hour when I worked there 32 years ago, okay? And we found a way to make sure that you needed another 100 hours, right? We don't do that, okay? Our mission is to try and find a way to not spend time and to automate and hand you the keys to the knowledge yourself. So this is what these business transformations audits are. Any place you see yellow, it's a warning. Any place you see red, it's like you better pay attention. We think something's wrong here. On any of those squares, you can click it, and it will take you to a prescription to fix what's wrong. We're looking at your information. We're saying, that's not right. You need to fix that. Here's how to fix that, okay? In many different areas of your business, we're doing this, okay? We're giving you the prescriptions, okay? And this is what we've seen, and we spent 3 years working on this, saying, okay, every single consulting engagement we do, every single partner that we touch, find the truth, find the path, find that data that is always consistent, okay? And we've done that, so that's a transformation audit. It's available for you, but if you work with our consulting team, here's some of the things other people are saying about it, okay? Call us where you get stuck. Send an email to consulting@connectwise.com. Again, with all these opportunities for success, you really have no excuse for failure, right? And I'm giving you no excuse. I'm saying, I don't want your money. I want you to do it for yourself. So do it, right? 375% increase in recurring revenue for Tom Watson, okay? Rob Davis says we completely transformed him by getting him on track with reworking his agreements so he can now track his time and really understand his utilization. So, you know, these are some simple things that we can do to help you cross that chasm. And we think that you'll have that path forward, and we don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't get across the chasm, all right? So you find your way forward. We're going to go through the pastures now. We're getting up into the uplands, okay? Things are becoming a little bit more successful. We have our flywheel moving. We've got our SMAC recipe in place. We've gotten through the quicksand. We've gotten our SMAC recipe in place. We've gotten past the sea of uncertainty. We've crossed the chasm, okay? And now we're actually heading up to the hills, okay? And here's a good one for people in our industry. We notice that there's other people in the industry. Okay? But we don't know what to do about that. All right? Now, I know you do, but I got to tell you, man, you guys represent a flywheel for me of 9 years, getting you to say it's okay to sit with each other, and it's okay to share your best practices, and that we're a community, and that we're a family, and that we should work together. You're not competitors. The competitors are the big boys. The competitors, honestly, are going to be HP and Dell and everybody that's going to go direct, okay? But don't worry about that. They can never replace you. But you got to share your secrets, right? You need community. Everybody needs community, right? So what have we done to really make that happen for you? So again, I'm forcing you to look at the success pyramid that we've built. This is our focal point. This is our whole mission in life for you. We have 10 user group meetings. How many people are going to the user group meetings? Excellent. All right. 10 of them all around the United States and Canada and in the UK and in Australia, okay? So we have 30, we have a meeting every quarter. In quarter one, we meet in all 10 locations. Quarter two, all 10 locations. Quarter three, all 10 locations. The fourth quarter of the year, right now, we reserve for IT Nation. So we just don't have user group meetings the very last quarter of the year, but every 90 days, we have a huge community event for you to participate in. We average about 100 partners in every one of those events, okay? This is a great place for you to learn because I don't have all the answers. You know, Joe doesn't have all the answers. Mark doesn't have all the answers, but collectively, we do have all the answers. And that's what I hear when people get together in the community. You know that the value of this IT Nation, sure, Jim Collins was good, and I appreciate you listening to me today, but the real value is talking to each other, okay? The real value happens at the House of Blues when you get that nugget, that best practice, that thing you went, when you have that aha moment talking to another partner. That's the real value, and I know that. We've done another thing community-based for you. We've said, you know what? We've made it too confusing to figure out what you can do with ConnectWise. So we've created an entire new marketplace. We've redone the marketplace entirely. We now have every single integration partner included in the marketplace, all right? So what does that mean? So think of it from this perspective. I have ConnectWise. What else can I do with ConnectWise? What else can I connect to ConnectWise? What else can I works with ConnectWise? Who's got best practices that will share with me in ConnectWise? The answer is you go to connectwise.com/marketplace, and all the answers are there. And in fact, if you go inside of ConnectWise, you can click on the icon that will take you directly to the marketplace as well. So it's built into ConnectWise as well. So let's just take a look at that marketplace. You'll find vendors like ESET, okay? And now what we're doing is these vendors are coming to us and they're saying, we want to offer you special pricing to be able to put out to the IT Nation. And we're open to anyone that wants to do that, okay? ESET came to us and said, here, we'll give you this, this kind of a price structure. You'd have to tell me, it's been a while since I personally sold virus protection, but I think that's pretty good pricing. So you can buy it directly right up on the marketplace. Another example is Reflections. How many folks are using Reflections out there? A lot of good spam products out there, and we're open to any of them, but the point is we just got the first people that are engaging with us on this, and the concept is, hey, look, you know, you want to get a volume here, the IT Nation can give you the opportunity to, you know, to drop your price and hopefully make it up on volume, all right? So 95 cents per user per month. A lot of other great spam solutions. I'm not endorsing any of them, okay? I'm saying, but think about this. Our collective bargaining power is finally being used to our advantage here, okay? Another thing that we did is we actually said, you know, we're making it a little too confusing with the fact that you can copy workflows from ConnectWise. A partner can share their best practice, their workflow rule, their service template, their project template, their awesome HTML email. There's a way to click a button and share that with the entire community. And we've been calling, we first called it shared templates. Wasn't a great name. Then we said, well, we'll call it marketplace. But now what we've done is we've said, look, anything that you can bring into or have touch ConnectWise is going to be in the marketplace. So we've now called anything that you could share with each other, any workflow rules or project plans or service templates, that's all available in this new section called Partner Exchange. And you're able to filter through. So that's configurations, agreement types. Take a look at this. Go to the marketplace and take a look at this. There's some phenomenal things that you'll get from other partners. It's a great way to share. It's a great way to benefit from the community that you belong to. So, another 20-mile march accomplished. Awesome. Now we're actually heading up into the mountains. We've got to pick our way through the mountains, all right? This is my favorite one, all right? This is the one that I think, if there's one place where I think I'm pretty good at, I think it's right here, busting my way through a mountain, okay? So you're going to reach another impasse, okay? And what does Jim Collins' book talks about is he talks about bullets and cannonballs. And what he's saying is you only have a limited amount of gunpowder, right? What is your gunpowder? So you got to be conservative on how you use that gunpowder. Well, what is your real gunpowder if you think about it? It's your time as a business. It's your money. It's your energy. It's really those three things. You cannot use all your time, money, or energy on anything. You've got to conserve those things and spread them out as much as possible. So the best thing that you can do is not take all your gunpowder, pack it into a cannon, and try and blast your way through this before you figure out how to hit the center of that target. Because if you're not going to hit the center of the target, you're not going to get through anyway, okay? And this is something that I see a lot of partners making mistakes on. A whole lot of partners make mistakes right here because they see a new technology and they want to go run after it and take advantage of it, and they think if I'm first to market with this, then I'm going to win. Let me tell you something that I'm going to give you a way to think about this industry, all right? We don't innovate this industry as a group. We implement the new innovations, okay? If Microsoft or Google or Apple comes out with that next great technology thing, they can win big. But there's a serious lag time in those who implement that technology's success. So if you're not creating the new solution, then you've got plenty of time to implement the new solution. You don't have to be the first person to go open up a cloud offering. You don't have to be the first person to get that virtualization farm up and running. You don't have to be the first person. And I got to tell you, it's like, I mean, David and I were like some of the first people in the Tampa Bay area to be an internet service provider. We were one of the very first internet service providers because we figured out the technology, and we loved that. But man, that business strangled us. I know Cohen Barnes is here. Where's Cohen? Cohen, I know you're here. And I know you just divested that part of your business, okay? And there's a reason for that, okay? I mean, sometimes we jump into the new technology and it isn't really the thing that we should have done because we loaded up all of our gunpowder and we fired a cannonball and we wasted all of our time, energy, and money, okay? So what have you got to do? You've got to actually, a little bit of gunpowder, okay? And that's what we mean when we say fire bullets, okay? Get calibrated. Figure out where you're trying to shoot that gun, okay? Get zeroed in on the target. Don't make a big investment. Don't put a lot of time into it. Don't put a lot of energy into it, okay? My term for all of this is fail fast, okay? I'd rather see you do something very quickly and completely fall on your face, as long as you're willing to get right back up and go at it again. Because I know with one attempt that you will learn almost everything that you need to develop the proper smack recipe to attack that goal, whatever that is. So you fire until you get closer. When you finally use a little bit of gunpowder to figure out where the center of that target is, that's when you bring out the big cannons, okay? Can we agree on that? That's when you blow a hole in it. And you'll have success, and you'll still have plenty of time, money, and energy left to go after the next one. I see too many of you wasting all of your energy in one spot. Take a different approach. Read the book. You find a way forward from that. Okay, so we accomplished yet one more 20-mile march. What's next? Now is the best part of all, okay? Now is where you actually are starting to see these big, hairy, audacious goals. If you can get yourself to this point, you've gotten out of the sea of uncertainty, you've gotten out of the quicksand, you've figured your way through the forest, you've crossed the sea of uncertainty, you've crossed the chasm, you've taken advantage of community, you're picking your way through the forest, you blew a hole through that mountain with bullets and cannonballs and failing fast, and now you've had a level of success. You've gotten the business really running in a process-driven way, and things are moving faster and faster. And I'm telling you, this is something where you build momentum. You're building momentum on this. It's about business. Again, it's boring. It's Alabama football, okay? But it works. Have your excitement and fun with the technology. Understand that your business, if you're going to be successful, when you're really successful with your business, you're getting bored of it. Not scared of it, bored of it. All processes are running perfectly. Can't find a better way to do things, okay? Big challenge you got now is figuring out what that big, hairy, audacious goal will be. What will be your definition of success? And everyone has a different definition of success, okay? We all do, okay? My goal might be this lower mountain. It might be a lifestyle business where I can actually make enough money to keep, my family happy, my children in college, okay, and a retirement, okay, and not work too hard. That's a great goal. That's an awesome goal, okay? Nothing to be ashamed of there. Don't think that that's not the end point for you. Don't think that that mountain isn't valid. It's completely valid for you. It might be a little bit more aggressive, okay? It might be to become the biggest software company in your particular niche area, okay? That's mine, okay? And we've accomplished that, and we're very happy about that, okay? That's it. I'm good. I'm good on that mountain, okay? I'm not going to the other mountain, me, okay? You might want to. It's okay. It might be to conquer the world, okay? It might be to get to the highest peak there is. It might be to have this big, hairy, audacious goal that is so massive that you are going to have to spend, a long time attacking it. But the point is you want to figure out what that is, and just figuring that out is a big challenge, okay? And by just figuring that out, you'll find your path forward. But you got to be, judicious and careful on how you're going to pick that big, hairy, audacious goal. But when you do, attack it. Smack recipe. Dogged discipline. Fanatic discipline. 20-mile march. Apply your smack recipe. You'll achieve that level of success. The thing that I really want to point out to you is that our whole vision for you is to get you to the top of that mountain. Our whole business is built on you getting to the top of that mountain. Our whole success pyramid is based on your success. Until we actually see you standing at the top of that capstone of our pyramid, we're not going to be happy. We're going to continue to invest money. We're going to continue to invest in you. We're going to continue to, if we have to, drag you through these things. I wish there was. Someone asked me, they said, I was talking to Jim Collins yesterday. I said, what can I do? We've done all of these things. You saw how many people raised their hands on the partner kit. What else can I do? Okay? I think we have a lot of the answers. I know that we can help you. What else can I do? You know what he said? He said, Arnie, you're going about the wrong way. You're trying to push them up your pyramid. You can't push them up your pyramid. You got to stand at the top of it and challenge them to come up with you. You got to say, you know what? You want to be successful? Here's the way. You think you can't be successful? You're wrong. With so much opportunity for success, failure is not an option. You're in the best industry. You have great tools. You're with the best community. There is no excuse. But that's our vision for you. And I think what we are really trying to do at ConnectWise is to choose innovation, okay? Choose success. We're saying we choose innovation. We're always constantly trying to innovate. One of the ways that we're constantly trying to innovate for you is with the APIs that we put out, and we make them open and available to all vendors, okay? We think the APIs are the key to innovation. They're the key to how we're going to actually create more processes, get your flywheel running faster. We've done some really awesome new APIs. We got the Configuration API. Configuration API lets anyone write into the ConnectWise system and create any configuration that they want. They can actually define the configuration on their own, create it in the system on their own. It doesn't have to pre-exist. Put in custom questions for that configuration. So it's like anything that they want to do, they're able to do. They can associate it with an agreement if they want, okay? And I think that's pretty phenomenal. The Managed Device API is really designed for anyone, also anyone that wants to, any managed service provider or RMM tool to integrate to us. And I wanted to just quick focus on some of the things, some of the innovation that we put in place for the managed service device. So real quick here, if you take a look up here, you'll see, this is, in this example, we actually have LabTech. And what it's able to do is, you can see we've got ChrisCraft, and we've actually discovered everything that's out there at ChrisCraft, okay? Everything that's out there. And by the way, we're not just discovering workstations, we're discovering, heck, we'll discover your Wii if you got a Wii on the network, okay? They'll discover a Wii. They'll discover your switches, your routers, your networked printers. Discover, yes, your workstations and your servers, okay? Your iPhones and your Android phones. Okay, imagine if you can actually, you know, find everything. Implement it, find everything, and then have everything come back into ConnectWise, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like in ConnectWise. We've got all of these configurations in here. And by the way, all of these configurations are associated with an agreement. So no one had to click anything or do anything. So we have brand new innovation that allows you to connect everything together. Managed workstation servers, all of these things are in here, okay? Let's take a look at how this managed service provider has integrated this into their agreements. We're on the agreement here, and we're actually on the Additions tab. And what it's found is it's found, you know, one unmanaged network computer. What a cool idea that is, right? How about you discover everything that's got an agent on it, but the ones that don't have an agent, you're also counting those and going, by the way, I'm not managing this one. I found it, but you haven't told me to manage it yet. I'm charging you $0, but I'm going to put it on the bill so you can see that you're not getting charged for that, okay? 85 managed workstations, 6 servers, Wi-Fi access points, VoIP devices, network printers and routers, everything coming in now, okay? And it's also updated the quantities on all of these. So I've got every single quantity here as well, all right? So let's take a look at what that invoice would look like. And by the way, no one's actually had to do anything. This is all set up and all able to be done from your remote monitoring and management program now, okay? And we encourage, you know, everybody, you know, all of our integration partners to take advantage of this level of open API integration that we give to you, okay? So we're going to charge them $12,669 to do all of this. No one had to do anything to create this invoice. We've got every single piece of inventory in the system now in ConnectWise, so we know about everything. So I think that's a pretty cool Opportunity API. Here's another cool thing that we did. Again, open API. Anybody can write to this. And that means partners, that means vendors, our integration partners, anybody can write to this, okay? Let's take a look at let's take a look at an opportunity here. And we now give you, in this next release, you'll have a quote button right up here. And with one click, it can open up your quoting tool, okay? In this case, because we have control over the research and development roadmap of Quozel, right? Or at least influence, I would say. We're going to show you the new Quozel product, Quozel Sell. With one click, we've actually gone in to your quoting tool, Quozel in this case, and we've started a brand new, we've gone to the quote that's connected to that opportunity. Here's the cool thing. If you had an opportunity and you did not yet put a quote out on it, you'd click in and it would automatically start that quote. So with one click, we can go ahead and prepare the quote. And by the way, this, all these, what we're showing you here, this is all real live demos, it's not videos. Okay? So yes, we're going to have slight delays here and there. No video. Won't do that. I'm trying to have that Bill Gates blue screen of death moment. So far, I've been lucky. So another cool thing that we've done with this API that's coming out in just a couple months is the ability for you to actually quote a project exactly the way that you would work a project, exactly the way that you would want to invoice a project, and it follows all the way through the system. Okay, so people that are using people using project management, you actually will be able to quote it exactly the way that you want that project plan to come over. We figure, hey, look, you quoted it that way. We know exactly what to do now. So this is a new concept, a new innovation that we've put in place. And we've been able to do this because we're very focused on the convergence of many more things integrating into ConnectWise, okay? So you've got your planning phase, you've got your kickoff meeting, your project status meeting, you've got your delivery and implementation phase. We're going to install and configure a server for a fixed fee of $1,600. We're going to install a ProLiant. And by the way, notice what we're doing here. We've got a phase, we've got some services, we've got some products, okay? And I'm going to show you what happens. We're actually going to bring these over. This delivery and implementation phase will now contain the products associated with that phase. And so now you can control when you build that phase. Maybe I'm not going to build that right away. Maybe I don't want to start billing it. New features in project management. Maybe I want to start billing it, a month from now. Maybe I want to get a 50% deposit on this, okay? Those of you that are using the project management module, you realize, like, wow, you really, if you think about it for a second, you're really going to do that? Yeah, we're really going to do that. Why shouldn't we? Why can't we? Why can't we innovate that? And we have. We've done this, okay? So here's what it looks like here. Let's go ahead and take a look in ConnectWise what it looks like. You can see over here on the opportunity, it's also going to show up exactly the same way. You're going to see the phases, and you're going to see the products and the services. And let's go ahead and take a look at the project itself. Here is that project. Okay? So that quote created that project. And that quote created that project. And what we're doing... And what we're doing is, remember I told you about the products that were in this phase? We're going to make a ticket for you. And every single product that was in that phase, we're putting it in that one ticket. So you have total granular control over what products are applied at what phase of the project. So those of you that are doing big project management, okay, I mean, almost, we're designing this so that a cable company can use it for timing their invoicing and construction and delivery of products as well as services at a phase level, okay, and quote it the same way. So this is going to follow all the way through the system, and we're pretty excited about that. So let's take another example here, okay, and this was the example that we gave you last year, where a technician this is how it typically works, right? We have a technician, they go out to the client's office, they find the stuff, or might happen to find the stuff that needs to be replaced at that client's location. They come in, we hope they come into the office, we hope they talk to a sales consultant, we hope that they tell the sales consultant about it, and then we hope that the sales consultant actually makes a quote, okay? Lots of points of failure there, okay? If they don't go out, they never find out about it. Well, that's wrong. Anything that's wrong in that network we should know about, okay? They might not make note of it. They might not tell the sales consultant. Sales consultant may or may not create a quote, okay? Lots of breakage in that process there. Instead, the way that it should work is you should be able to take your remote monitoring and management tool, and you should be able to scan the network, have it find everything that is wrong with it, okay? Push that out into ConnectWise, tell us about it, and we'll tell the quoting tool about it, okay? So we've eliminated that system engineer, and we've eliminated that sales consultant altogether. We're using, knowledge and artificial intelligence to actually create this quote. That is how we're going to actually create success for you. So let's take a look at that. And a better example of this, if you think about it, to just flush this concept out for you a second, okay? And this is where we're really trying to just, all we're trying to do is innovate in this industry and lead it with, a light and move forward. And we want every single company to take advantage of this and move forward with us on this. But this is our vision. This is how we see it, okay? We see that there's client's current environment, which is always come on. You walk first into any client, it's always kind of a mess, isn't it? Right? Then we have our support standards. It's what we would want to put in. It's what we want to support, okay? And the two never really meet together, okay? So what we're doing now, and we're going to show you an example of LabTech doing this, what we're doing is LabTech is now scanning this, okay? And I think any RMM tool can do this, but we have no control over the RMM tool, except for, we can tell LabTech you got to do this because we need to, we need some cool new stuff. But they're scanning this, okay? They're finding the things that are not meeting our standards, and they're replacing them with the standards or telling us to replace those standards. So the client's current environment very quickly becomes the environment that we support, and it meets our support standards. That's really what we're all trying to do if we're MSPs or if we're doing IT technology, right? So just bear with me for a second. That concept, keep that concept in your head. Now think about the ConnectWise lifecycle. This is the entire flow of information through ConnectWise, okay? It starts with marketing. You put a quote out, you get an opportunity, you make a ticket of it, you dispatch someone to take care of that ticket, right? You work the ticket, and I'm on the center line here. Then you invoice it, and then you've got business review information, okay? You could go through the project management path. You can go through sales and procurement path. So this is a very simplistic view of all that ConnectWise does, but we think that we should be extending that, and so we have extended that. We're saying it's not just marketing that can now create a quote or tell you that you need to create a quote. Why can't we use an RMM tool to actually say, look, we'll find the stuff that's not right, we'll find where you don't meet our standards, and we'll automatically give you a quote, and we're going to show you an example here with LabTech and Quolza. We're automatically going to give you a quote in the system and tell you that you need to quote this, okay? So let's take a look at this. So this is the flow that we're going to show here all the way through to invoicing. Now, bear with me. I'm going to go real fast here, okay? It's not really designed to teach it to you. It's designed to show you the concept and the innovation and technology. So we're going to go ahead and start off here in LabTech. Again, we're looking at Chris-Craft here. So let's go ahead and scan their network and see the first example where we said, look, let's find places where they don't have the correct amount of memory. I mean, that's a real problem for us, right? You got to go, how are you going to figure that out? I mean, sometimes you got to go and open up the machine and say, how many slots, what kind of memory, that's a real hassle. Instead, we think you can have a remote monitoring management tool, and LabTech's already done it, come back with a list of suggestions. I looked at everything, I know how many slots they have open, I know what you need, okay, and I'm going to make recommendations. So it's actually come up with that list of recommendations. All we have to do now is go ahead and create an opportunity with one click. Go ahead and do that, and let's go ahead and take a look at that quote. What we've done is we've actually sent a request into ConnectWise to create a quote, okay? We're back here in Quolza, though. As soon as they did that, as soon as LabTech did that, they've sent this information through ConnectWise, and Quolza's automatically picked that up and said, okay, I've got a quote. Here's Andy. Andy's the salesperson at Chris-Craft, okay? Andy's looking at his new Quolza cell, and he's seeing that he has a notification to actually create a quote for this. One click, and he's actually creating that quote, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at that quote. And if you see here, we only found two things. We made a lot of suggestions, but we only gave you the top two recommendations. And the suggestions are that Kevin's office PC needs a 4 GB kit, and here's what we suggest, but optionally you can get the faster chip speed if you want. It's a little bit more expensive, but that's what we're recommending, okay? Also, Kevin's PC needs a 16 GB upgrade, and you can get this kit, or you can optionally get this other kit, okay? Probably a little bit different in some way, shape, or form. So let's go ahead and actually, with one more click, all Andy's got to do is go ahead and publish that. And by publishing that, he's actually created that quote, okay? Now, I'm making believe that I'm Andy here. And again, we're doing this all live, real time. So I've actually got that quote. Now, if I'm Andy and I want to get in front of that customer, I'm going to do it with my iPad. I'm going to walk right into the customers, right up to Kevin, the CFO there at Chris Craft. I'm going to go, okay, Kevin, hey, look, we found this. We think you need to make these upgrades. Actually, have it right here. Can you decide which option you want? Pick your option, and then just sign off. And yeah, you can just finger sign it. That's fine. And accept the order. Okay. So, and by the way, I could have just emailed it to Kevin, and he could have done the same thing, okay, on his iPad or by the way, on his iPhone or his Android as well, okay? So we're trying to make it as convenient as possible. He's accepted that order. I'm done. The sales process is done. It's actually just handed it straight to Andy, and in about 2 clicks, Andy went ahead and quoted it. Didn't have to wait for the system engineer to tell him. Let's go back and look at the opportunity. The opportunity, we can see that we've already won, or quote, has been approved. This has automatically happened. We've already said, hey, we won that opportunity. ConnectWise has already taken the next step and notified the people that need to then take action because we won that opportunity, okay? See what I'm talking about? I'm talking about business process. I'm talking about this is how you get things scalable and repeatable. This is how you create an expert system, okay? This is how you build success, okay? So that quote's been approved. We can see that down here on the product tab, we've got those products on here. Let's go and actually take this thing through the entire process. Let's create a sales order. Let's go buy it. But it'll take you all the way through the life cycle super quick. So let's go ahead and create a sales order out of this. So that creates a sales order. Now it's actually going to go into receiving, and you do have to have the ConnectWise purchasing receiving piece for this. But sales order you don't, but now we're into the purchasing receiving piece. You can receive this, put in the packing slip that the box came in on, okay? Or if it was drop shipped, you can drop ship it to the client as well. You're going to get that packing slip, okay? Say it's received. As soon as we say that that's received, the service manager on the ticket is being notified, okay? So let's go take a look at the ticket. And you can see here that that ticket has automatically flipped itself to must schedule. No one had to do anything. No one's touched anything here, okay? It said, hey, look, your stuff's in. You can go ahead and place that service call now. No one had to go figure out where the memory was, okay? It came in, the ticket told the service manager, okay? So we do the work, we put our time in, we close this ticket, and then we're going to create an invoice out of it. So let's take a look at that invoice super quick, super duper quick. So far, no blue screen of death. Okay, create the invoice. And voila. Now, it's boring, I get it, okay? You're like, why are you sitting there and clicking this and showing us a stupid invoice? Well, I'm geeked out by it. But but that's what I do for you, okay? All right? So, all right, so more cool stuff for you, okay? Let's actually look at the 2013 roadmap. Let me show you what we've got for you here. All right. We have a brand new user, again, live stuff here. We have a brand new user interface. Some of you have seen this, okay? We want to get your opinion on it. It's all browser-based, okay? Everything in the browser, okay? We're rolling this out over the 2013 period. This very next release actually will have a big chunk of the foundational development work that we've put in place, but none of the user interface, sorry. The user interface is just going to take us a little bit of time to roll that out. So let's go ahead and open up a ticket here and take a look at it. So here's the new design of the ticket. We showed this, we've shown you this in the past, but I mean, what we've done is we've really spent a lot of time really focusing on it. We said, look, where are the problems? Where can we make this more streamlined? We said, look, let's break the problem out and keep it where it needs to be, separate from everything else. So you won't be in the discussion anymore. That initial thing that starts that ticket will be the problem. Come on, you can clap about that. That's what we heard you say. We give you the ability to, with one click, assign yourself to it. And by the way, with that one click, it's going to put it on your schedule too, okay? So we're talking about reducing the clicks and making things way faster, all right? Every single field, as we go through this process, and every screen that you start seeing that gets redone with this user interface, every single field on here, you can define whether it is required field or not. We're going to give you a new cool quick time entry feature. So down here, we're actually seeing the discussion is down here, threaded down here, and we call it quick time. And so with QuickTime, with one click, you'll just be able to put your start and end time in, put your notes in, and be done with it, okay? No going to a different screen. We're also going to give you the ability to start timers. So start a timer on this ticket, go away from it. Come back later and stop the timer, okay? So you'll have timers, okay? And we'll even be bringing that down to mobile, all right? We'll have a new tab that shows all open tickets for this client, okay? So you're working this ticket, you say, I want to see all open tickets, one click, boom, it's right there, okay? We're also going to have estimated revenue on there, and you're going to actually, on every individual ticket, you're going to be able to say, you know what, I'm billing this ticket separately, but I don't want to start billing it or have any of the time or any of the products show up for billing until maybe 2 weeks from now, or a month from now, or whatever. So you'll actually be able to control when an individual ticket starts its billing process, okay? I thought it was a big deal. Okay. It's a labor of love. How about SLAs? So what we've done is we've completely revamped SLAs. We're actually making it so that your technicians will learn and understand the SLAs with just discovering it on the ticket, okay, with one click. Okay, and what we're also going to do is give you granular control over SLAs. So if you want to define SLAs based on your client's office hours, you can do that, okay? If you want to create any schedule for an SLA, you now have that capability. So right now, you only have 24/7 and your office hours. How about the client's office hours? How about this crazy schedule that this manufacturing client of mine wants me to somehow do an SLA for, and I don't have any way in ConnectWise to do that? The answer is completely customizable. You can do whatever you want now. Okay, other enhancements. Dispatch portal will be completely redone in the web client. We're going to have a ton of enhancements also in project management. Let's take a look at project management super quick. I'm very excited, geeked out about the project management enhancements, okay? You're going to see a new and improved work plan area, okay? And what we're doing here is we are making lots and lots of things clickable. So if I click in here, actually, obviously I'll go to the ticket. But I can click right in here on the hours as we can now, and we can see all of those hours, though. We'll just pop out that time right here for you to be able to take a look at. We can click in here and see all of the actual hours. I think this is a really cool thing, and this is big for project managers. We're giving you the ability to now define on a ticket, any ticket in the system, but also any project, how far you think you're completed on that. So your estimation of completion at this point in time, and everything will get driven from that, okay? So if you understand the building blocks that are necessary to create success with that, that is pretty phenomenal, okay? So in fact, on every single time record, you're gonna have the ability to say, oh, I'm working on this ticket, on this project, or just this ticket individually, how much how far do I think I have to go on this ticket before I'm done? And every single employee can go ahead and enter that information, okay? Every time they enter a time record, okay? So the idea is we have a full loop communication letting us know when everything is getting done, all right? I think probably one of the coolest things on here is that we actually are completely redoing this recap screen. And the recap screen, what we're doing now is we give you the ability to come in here and change your original estimate for either cost on time, expense, or product. So you will now, as project managers, be able to use ConnectWise for the very largest of projects because you're going to be able to create cost control inside of ConnectWise, okay, with your estimates. We are tracking all of the costs now. We are tracking the time cost, the expense cost, the product cost, and we're reporting that on the project, all right? And you'll be able to update your estimates on that. Oh, you don't have to clap. And of course, we talked about the percent to complete here as well. So the ability, and one of the cool things that we're doing on that percent to complete is the ability for project managers to say, I see the last time that someone actually gave me a new estimate on this line item of the project, it was 5 weeks ago, and it was Jeff. And with one click right there, I can send a notification out to Jeff saying, can you give me an update, please? Can you give me an update on the estimated complete, okay? So we're creating a collaboration kind of environment on projects between you and the folks that are doing those projects so the project managers don't have to go chase them down nearly as much. Okay. This is what you guys like, though. You like this stuff. Opportunities. Opportunities are going to be completely redone, and this actually will be in the very next release. The 2013.1 release will have opportunities completely redone, and also in the browser. Not a tremendous amount of changes there, but I think some really pretty cool things that we're doing is we're going to give you now the ability, when you have an opportunity, the ability to say, you know what, and we heard this from some of the largest partners, once I win that opportunity, I want to lock everything about it as far as from a cost and revenue standpoint, and then if I move this thing forward into a project, just keep it separate, okay? Because I want to change it in the project. I want to change it on the ticket. I might change the cost structure or anything else, but I already nailed it, what I want to pay commission to the salesperson on. So I want that opportunity to be frozen. So we're giving you the ability to do that. And we're doing some other cool things, you know, just bringing the flag available for you to click here so anyone in sales understands that these will be some pretty cool things that we're doing for you here. The ability to some other kind of cool things that we're doing is the ability for you to become much bigger. Those of you that actually are large enough where you actually have resellers underneath you, the ConnectWise structure will be overhauled to allow you to define clients and then establish. This is a client that I have in my system, but it's Sally's, the reseller of Register on that particular customer. So there's a couple folks that really, really wanted things like that. So anyway, lots and lots of stuff that we're doing there. I think the other thing that I want to point out is that mobile, we think, is absolutely the future. And what we're doing with this is we're bringing opportunities down to mobile. We've got a brand new... So imagine this, though. Imagine what we showed you earlier. Imagine a salesperson out in the field talking to Kevin, okay, at Chris-Craft, and saying, I think I got an opportunity here. They'll be able to actually create that opportunity on their mobile device, flip it to a status that they should be doing a quote, you know, just flip it to a status, and it's going to show up in Quozel for Andy to one click create the quote, okay? So they won't have to remember to patch it together themselves. It's going to happen automatically. But they'll actually have the sales forecast out here. They'll be able to look at every open opportunity that they have. This will be a real weapon for salespeople, and this is one of the places that we really want to have you guys focus. So we're pretty excited about that. So I guess what I would tell you is that I want you to choose greatness, all right? I want you to dare to climb that mountain. I want you to work, let us help you, okay? And if you don't want us to help you, just realize that you need to create your smack recipe. You need to have no excuse for failure, okay? I think we're entering some of the best times ever, I know, in the IT industry, and I absolutely want to see you have the greatest level of success that you possibly can. So thank you guys very much for coming today.